had a little meeting upstairs we had to get rid of. And so I'd like to ask.
Got rid of it already.
Yeah, we did. Give us a briefing on 429.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Amelia Kovar-Donahue, Assistant Revisor. Senate Bill number 429 relates to tax credit incentives and would extend the sunset for the angel investor tax credit to tax year 2031. Currently, the angel investor tax credit that's found in KSA 748133 is scheduled to expire after tax year 2026. The bill would amend the statute to extend the sunset to after tax year 2031 and provide that the total amount of tax credits allowed shall not exceed $8 million for each tax year of 2027 through 2031. The balance of unissued tax credits may be carried over for issuance in future years until tax year 2031. And the bill would take effect from and after publication in the statute book. And as a reminder for the committee, you did have an informational hearing and some information from Legislative Post Audit back on February 5th hearing committee relating to this particular tax credit. And I'd be happy to stand for questions.
Any other questions? Yes, Senator Pasquarello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So since I'm new to this committee, replacing Senator Mary Ware, I think I sit in on one of those meetings in the fall. So the tax credit carrying over, is that to both sides, both entities that benefit from that tax credit? Or who has it in their possession for it to roll over? Or if you could elaborate on that a little more. Thank you.
The reference I was making was to unissued tax credits because there is an annual maximum number of tax credits that can be issued each year. Then there is a provision for unissued tax credits that they could be awarded in later years up to 2031. Now, in a different from a different perspective, transferability and carryover of credits that have been awarded, that's a different issue. And I'm looking here in the bill to see if I can find where it talks about the transferability and the carry forwards. It looks like the credit itself can be carried forward until the total amount of the credit is used. And
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, so what on page 2 in lines 6?
okay, page 2, line 6, where the amendment is included, I believe that is in reference to the provision that essentially provides a cap or a maximum of credits issued each year. And so what that is saying is if the entirety of, let's say, the $8 million is not awarded to a taxpayer, then the unawarded or unissued amount of that tax credit could be used in a future year, but only until tax year 2031. That's different than transferability and carryovers. It's the earlier process of the cap of how many tax credits can be awarded per year.
Any other questions? Senator Clem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was, the transferability, can you address that? I couldn't.
I didn't really address transferability, so let me go back. The provision that's being amended here on lines 6 and 7 on page 2 has to do with the annual limit of credits that are awarded, not the issue of transferability or carryovers. Different issue. So if you want, so I will look for, just off the top of my head, I can't remember what the transferability provision is here. It does look like a credit may be transferred one time under this program.
That's all I needed. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Further discussion? Questions? Thank you very much. Our first proponent will be Rachel Willis, Director of Legislative Affairs for Department of Commerce. Welcome again, Rachel.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. It's my pleasure to be here in support of the Kansas Angel Investor Tax Credit, which is set to sunset December 31st of this year. Our request with this budget, with this bill, I've been sitting in lots of budget hearings. Our request with this bill specifically extends that sunset to December 31st of 2023. It is this particular tax credit is one of our most effective innovation tools. We believe it's one of the most effective innovation tools in the Midwest. As you heard previously, last week, the Legislative Post Audit did conduct an audit on the program and issued 2 recommendations, which our agency has worked diligently to implement. So overall, this program is a strategic instrument that unlocks capital, private capital, de-risks early-stage investments, and accelerates the commercialization of Kansas-based innovation. Since its inception, it has enabled Kansas startups to leverage more than $600 million in private investment, supported 266 unique companies, and catalyzed a maturing angel and seed market. On page 2 of my testimony, you'll see some specific stats and data points. In 2024 alone, 28 companies received support, 4.8 million in tax credits were allocated, and 93 investors deployed over $2 million in growth capital. So for every dollar in tax credit has leveraged $5.33 in private investment. Every dollar in tax credit has generated more than $2.36 in annual payroll impact. And every dollar in tax credit has produced more than $2.83 in annual revenue impact. Employment impacts include a little more than 2,000 direct jobs, close to 800 retained jobs, and over 7,000 indirect jobs. Specifically going back to the audit, LPA identified, like I said, 2 recommendations. The first being that our agency should develop processes to regularly review the Angels Tax Credit program data and correct any inaccuracies. Since then, we have implemented quarterly reports, and our innovation team oversees those. These reports summarize program activities and outcomes, including metrics related to qualified businesses, tax credits issued, and capital raised. The program manager and staff also conduct regular site visits. The second recommendation is that our agency should continue with its plan to make monitoring processes more efficient, including implementation of new survey processes described by our officials during that audit. So we have done that, and like I said, it includes those quarterly reviews, a new enhanced survey process, and regular check-ins with those participating companies. I will just lastly share the companion bill on the House side, HB 2466, did just pass the floor yesterday with a vote of 93 to 28. So happy to answer questions when appropriate.
Any questions, committee? Yes, Senator Clem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you. So we had the audits that had some recommendations. They were soft on the recommendation side, in my opinion. So I was curious, more just about your opinion. The audit showed there wasn't a huge difference between folks that received credits and those that didn't. And I felt it would have been more folks with the credits would have been doing better. It didn't look like that was the case. And there wasn't a lot of, I love the fact we're advancing and there's money being spent. It just seems like we're giving credits and the results aren't that much different than folks that hustle and go get a loan at the bank. And I just want to get your perspective on what your thoughts are around that. You know, I'm a fan of growth here in the state and commerce just in general, but I don't know if this is a great tool and we keep using it and I'm not sure it's yielding the results that we want, because if I'm not mistaken, our folks in the state are fairly stagnant. Kids are leaving the state, and I'm babbling a little bit, but I'd appreciate your perspective on what you heard, and then also how can we maybe continue to improve this, because an extension of something that may not be as productive as it should be just continues to fund things that allow tax credits to move around and help pay, you sell those and they generate revenue. So, sorry for the long-winded question.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I appreciate that question. And I think we would make the argument that these companies that are part of this program are at a higher risk than those companies that can go out and secure that capital themselves. Also, we've done lots of different data polls related to this program specifically, and specifically after that audit, to make sure that we're keeping track of the things that we need to keep track of, and are reviewing it on a regular basis, on that quarterly basis. So I will just mention specifically our survival rates for those companies that are part of this program. The survival rate for our companies is right at 49.6%. Axios, that does these sorts of reviews on small businesses across the country, will tell you that same type of businesses, their survival rate is 46.8%. So because of our program, we feel like our numbers are trending slightly above that national average. So we are doing better.
Pascal.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. So Rachel, hi. So I'm certainly in favor of the legislation here, Senate Bill 429, the angel investment tax credits. But so you mentioned, I believe you mentioned $600 million that you've invested new or startups or. So has that been, where's that been, across the state or in an isolated area of the state?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that question. It's across the state. So it's everywhere from Wichita to Manhattan, Kansas City to Garden City. It's got a pretty wide spread across the state.
And Mr. Chairman, Rachel, then do you track? So I'm certainly willing to continue to see this move forward, but do you track and measure the success? How do they report back to you to show that they've used the money wisely? Thank you.
Yeah, another great question, and we do. And through those quarterly reports and those site visits that we're conducting now, we're checking in on those companies on a regular basis to ensure that they are surviving and that they're utilizing that capital in the best way. I can also tell you how they utilize that capital. I've got a little chart here, hang on. It's in everything from expanding their hiring needs to helping support testing and research and development, just making their product available and ready for the market, and then just general business growth. So lots of different buckets that they're using that capital in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't mean to steal the whole show, but just to Senator Kemp's concern to know that we're not just continuing the same thing, that they are growing and excelling. And so you're saying that chart kind of proves and supports that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Rachel. Our next proponent is Stephanie Moran, SVP of Innovation, Go Topeka. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, committee members. I'm actually going to pass around a couple of brochures on the Link Innovation Labs. As I said, I'm Stephanie Moran. I'm the Senior Vice President of Innovation for Go Topeka and Link Innovation Labs that just opened this week in downtown Topeka. For those of you who may or may not know, Go Topeka is the economic development partner for the city of Topeka and Shawnee County. We have worked with our city and county partners to secure funding, along with some private dollars, to open Link Innovation Labs, which is a $15 million facility in downtown Topeka off the corner of 6th and Monroe, just a few blocks from here. For the past 5 years, we've actually brought over 100 startups in through our partnership with the Plug and Play Tech Accelerator Program. Plug and Play is a entity out of Silicon Valley. We have a local Plug and Play team who then runs accelerator programming. We focus in areas of animal health, ag tech, and sustainability, and we bring in 10 to 15 startups per batch twice a year. So like I said, we started in the fall of 2020 with them and have brought in numerous startups through that program. Many of those startups have to go through multiple rounds of regulatory, FDA testing, USDA, to bring these products to commercializations. They need this type of research space to be able to bring those ideas to life. So to your questions about what are these dollars going to, we've tried to create this affordable lab space that helps these startups grow, bring those products to commercialization in a much faster capacity. Working with our angels, we've got a great angel network. They really want to see startups grow and excel here in Topeka, in the region, and throughout Kansas. These type of angel tax credits help de-risk that investment for them, where they're willing to take a chance on these startup companies, invest in them, help them get through those many hurdles they have to go through to bring those ideas to commercialization. You know, and startups that we've encountered through this program so far are actually really impressed with Kansas. It's not their first place they're looking. When startups are looking for places to go, a lot of times they're initially looking at the coasts. The startups that we bring through the program are from across the U.S., but the majority are actually international startups, and they're looking for that U.S. home base of operations. Being able to showcase the capabilities that we have in Kansas, in the capital city, the resource partners that we have through our universities, our statewide partners, Network Kansas, Nexus, Department of Commerce, being able to leverage all of these programs is a key attractor for these startups. We've got several who are interested, and that's the reason we've built this lab space in downtown Topeka, to be able to bring them here. They like the quality of life. They like the little bit slower pace. They enjoy, you know, a lot of the assets that we have in the area, from outdoor activities to quality of family life to schools, being able to have kind of central access from a distribution perspective. So these angel tax credits are really important as we attract. It's a tool that we can use from an economic development perspective to help those startups find a home base of operations here in Kansas. With Link Innovation Labs, like I said, it's a lot of that wet lab space that we do not have a great deal of throughout the state. Link Innovation is a little over 17,000 square feet. We have 8 lab spaces in there, anywhere from 650 to 750 square feet, that help these startups bring those ideas to life. We also have partnerships. Washburn University and Kansas State have both partnered in that space. We're employing students from those universities through internships, through research projects in there. Back to your point of trying to keep our local talent local and connect them with these startups so that they see that they've got a pathway. Many of our students that are working in that space are entrepreneurial international business students and are looking for ways to support and grow in the community. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in support of this bill and would invite any of you to come tour the facility so that you can see what we're doing in that space. Really looking to support not only our innovators, but our local small businesses and our entrepreneurs as well, and stand for any questions.
Thank you, Houston. Appreciate it. Questions? Senator Clem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple that are related.
Yep.
Do you find that how much of the incubator business that you're bringing in are associated with the credits?
Currently, we haven't. We've had a couple that have used the tax credit program, but I think it's really more because we haven't had that connector place for them to really work and connect with the resources. I think bringing Lincoln is going to have a lot more of them using those angel tax credit programs and having those access to those investors.
Do you feel that those funds from a credit will be a lead or a follow-on?
I think a lot of times it can be a follow-on to additional funding. So if they've received FDA, USDA funding, we've seen that with several of our startups where they've been able to secure that funding. This then helps kind of, like I said, extend that runway where they're working on these products for a really long period of time.
One more. Thank you. So of the students that are, or the folks that you're creating opportunities for, Are most of those software, or is there plays on manufacturing and other things that drive more positions in our state?
Right. Honestly, most of what we're working with is in that animal health and ag tech and then sustainable packaging area. Our corporate partners in that space are Hill's Pet Nutrition, Zoetis, Bimini Pet Health locally has also been part of that relationship. And so a lot of those companies are looking for sustainable initiatives. Sustainable packaging, we've worked with companies. One of the very first startups, Batch Zero for us in the fall of 2020, just sold their company. It's a coating that can be put onto paper trays to make them last like a plastic tray would, but then it's decomposable once it hits the landfill. We do a lot of pet food products. We've done tech validation with K-State with a lot of these startups. We've developed a new pet food product out of an invasive fish species in our Midwest waterways that is actually hypoallergenic for pets. So it's kind of a twofold solution. We've also got a lot of applications in the production animal. We have a sensor that can go on the ear tags of cattle and detect respiratory disease much faster so that those cattle can be treated before they become a financial loss for our farmers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Stephanie, you make this sound so exciting.
It is pretty exciting.
So I reside in Wichita, Kansas, but I'm now living over at Thermana during the session. So I passed 6 in Monroe and I saw something that looked different.
Big green sign.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, so I will stop by there. But you know what, Mr. Chairman, your presentation, Stephanie, just now gave me a whole new perspective. So we're always talking about ways to keep our young professionals in Kansas. And this sounds like the way to go. And so, and then the comments made by the Senator Klemp, I support the legislation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for just being so exuberant.
It's been a busy week. We had our grand opening on Monday, so I'm kind of on a high here right now.
Yes, and being from here, my apologies, couldn't be there because of the budget, but got to tour things, looking forward to see that finished product, but thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you. I will offer up that we do have a business unwind. I know you guys are busy during the day a lot of the time, but there is a business unwind on February 24th, Tuesday evening from 5 to 7. If that works for anyone, we'd love to have you join. We'll be doing tours of the space during that time as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Committee, we have 3 proponents written only. They're in your packet. We have no neutral or no opposition. So with that, we will close the hearing on Senate Bill 429. And we do have a little time left, so we're going to open Senate Bill 418. And this is the enacting a by right Housing Development Act. And could you give us just a brief explanation of that act?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, as you may recall, Senate Bill number 418 relates to new housing development and had essentially 5 components. First, it would enact the By Right Housing Development Act that would provide a streamlined permit approval process for by right housing developments. It would allow for third-party review of new residential construction development documents and inspection of improvements at the election of the political subdivision. It would require political subdivisions to allow certain building provisions for single-family residences of a certain size, which was those under 3,000 square feet. It would exclude owner-initiated rezoning to a single-family residential district from protest petition provisions. And it would provide that for all land within the corporate limits of a city to be considered as zoned for single-family residential use.
Questions? Are there? Yes.
I can't really remember, Mr. Chairman, but I know there was a tiny little piece of concern or opposition. Do you remember what that was, and did they ever resolve that? Or is the senator? Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we might be able to address that. I do have an amendment.
Okay. You have an amendment? Pass it out.
And actually, as we're getting that amendment passed out, I'll just have Amelia explain that in a moment, but
Passed out. Senator Cluse?
can you explain that for us, Amelia? Thank you.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. The balloon, if you turn to page 5, I believe the first amendment is on page 5. It relates to the provision relating to the allowing for, that requiring political subdivisions to allow certain building provisions for single-family residences that are less than 3,000 square feet. This amendment would also require that those single-family residents, in order for this provision to apply, that single-family residence would need to be constructed on each such residence's own separate lot or parcel with its own individual legal description. And then the second amendment can be found on page 9. And it relates to the zoning provision that currently provides that all land within the corporate limits of a city shall be considered zoned for single-family residential use. It includes a qualifier that would provide that the provision, all land within the corporate limits of a city that is zoned for any type of residential use shall be considered zoned for single-family use. So it would not apply to all zoning, it would apply to other types of residential zoning. And then the amendments on the first page are just conforming amendments to adjust the title.
Senator Cluse?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Amelia, for that explanation. So what I would like to do, with the chairman's permission, have Senator Rose come and take some questions on this. He's actually the one that's been very passionate about this, and the affordability crisis that we face, and in the spirit of working with the locals and the cities, I know he's been in my office numerous times to try to, bring some resolve to some of the questions that I even had. And if that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, Senator Rose.
Senator Rose? Welcome again.
Thank you, Chair.
Do you have a little explanation on these?
Sure. On page 5, the reason for that amendment is for houses less than 3,000 square feet, those provisions are to make it easier for the people of Kansas to own a home. And I'm trying to guard against a subdivision that has one owner and having one legal description on every single family house in that subdivision, which in effect is a horizontal apartment. And then on page 9, that satisfies the desire of the cities and working with the cities that single-family houses only go in land that they have zoned as residential. So it allows cities to complete their zoning and maintain their zoning. And that, by making this amendment on page 9, it brought Aletha, who is one of the two opponents, from opponent to neutral.
Any other discussion? Senator Pascal?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So thank you. I think that piece on page, or the last amendment on 9 was, I thank you for fixing that. But so just in general throughout where these amendments are, the word political, what does that mean?
The political subdivision?
Yeah, thank you.
Just the government entity that has jurisdiction over the housing. Did I pass your test?
Senator Cluse?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And can you remind the committee, Senator, concerning that this does not take away from the main HOAs and stuff. Can you touch on that and some of the other things that the cities have in play?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so throughout this legislation, I think especially the component of this legislation that for houses less than 3,000 square feet, use the 2018 code 3,000 square foot lot. I know that in Johnson County, where I reside, the cities and the counties, the cities make their zoning. A lot of the neighborhoods have a homeowners association with their own requirements for minimum lot size, minimum square footage. And with this legislation, the homeowners associations and cities would still be able to make their rules.
Senator Clement?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And more of a statement. Thank you. You worked on the front side on this. You worked on the back side to get some of the opponents to a neutral. And I appreciate that. It's a good legislation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Dietrich?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So some of the feedback I got from City of Topeka, and thank you for all these changes because they're all good, was the code being 2018 versus 2021, which is what they're using. Can you just speak to that, please?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and thank you, Chair. I had a lot of conversations with different cities, and the city of Topeka was one city that I did work with and meet with in this legislation. I believe it's fair to say that their biggest issue was what we're amending out right now, and that's allowing the city, the single-family houses anywhere. So they did also have an issue with allowing houses to be built using the 2018 code. So I thank you for the opportunity to explain why that provision is so important to me. The entire purpose of this legislation is to make homeownership attainable for more Kansans. And let's not be coming up with rules and requirements that price Kansans out of homeownership. And talking to builders, they tell me that going from the 2018 code, which many cities are using right now, but they're in the process of adopting the 2024 code, that one change increases the cost of home construction by, a builder told me, $30,000. So you think about allowing the 2018 code, allowing a 3,000 square foot lot, allowing architectural finish on one, you start adding that together, and this bill could single-handedly bring down the cost of new home construction by $50,000. And the 2018 code is important. It's not saying that a home has to be built to that code. It's just saying that cities have to allow it. Back to, we're not gonna be pricing Kansans out of homeownership by demanding a 2024 code that has, I'll also add, the 24 code has nothing to do with safety. The upgrades are for energy. I think that, so I would talk to Fire Marshal about that, and he said, yeah, the 2018 code is fine as far as fire is concerned. But that's why that part of this bill is important to me.
Yes.
So they're not using 24, they're using 21. So I don't know the difference between 2018 and 2021 is.
I believe we could talk to the builders, but I believe that there are increased costs going from 2018 to 21. I can tell you that the district I represent has a lot of new home construction, beautiful homes. And they're all being built currently to the 2018 code. The 2018, the reason I picked that is it's a well-built house. Builders in the Johnson County area are accustomed to using that code, so there's no expense in learning a new code. It's a well-built house, it's safe, and it maintains the lower cost of a new home construction.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Senator Reichman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So, in the bill, it says, it has, page 5, it says 218 edition International Residential Code. But you are not mandating that other cities, they can use what code they want and what they have in place. Okay, the other part that one of the the people had a lot of concern with was they could build it wherever they want to, special industrial area, whatever. This has taken that out of it. The homes can only be built in the residential area. Is that correct?
Thank you, and thank you. Chair, to answer your first question, what this legislation is saying is that a city can have no code, and that's fine. Or a city, some cities in Johnson County are still using the 2006 code, and that's fine. But we're not, what the legislation is saying is that we're not going to price people out of homeownership by demanding the 24 code or 21 code or more updated codes that drive up the cost of new home construction. So it's just saying, it doesn't say cities have to use the 18 code, but they have to allow it for homes that are less than 3,000 square feet. And then the second question, the amendment that Senator Cluse is carrying, it accomplishes, it goes back to single-family houses only being built in zoning that the cities have declared to be residential.
There's no other questions. Senator Cluse, do you want to move your motion, your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With that, I move my amendment.
Second by Senator Cluse. Any other, Senator Clamp, excuse me. I got two Ks. I got the Ks. Ks mixed up. Okay. Any other discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. One abstain. Okay. It passed, yes. Committee, it had motion been made and seconded on the amendment. What do you want to do with the bill? You make move.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we move forward with Senate Bill 418 as amended. Favorably.
Do you have a second? Second by Senator Owens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Committee, we are complete today. We will not meet, we'll meet Monday. Is that correct? Yeah, we will be meeting on Monday, same time. And we will have possible final action on a couple bills. So thank you very much, and we are.